Very briefly, I'm Michael Moran. I run a business called 1080. We focus really on two things. One, career management and getting managers to have engaging career conversations to drive engagement. And secondly, we've been using some fairly clever technology, which I want to share with you today, on how you embed the learning. When I do these sort of things, I try to be quite controversial, thought-provoking. How many people are actually in L&D here? Most people? Yeah. And I can speak as a former CEO of a name-listed company. We very rarely demonstrate the value of the learning. So we fail to embed it. The reason why you have hard times convincing CEOs and FDs why we should spend money on L&D is because we can't prove our case. In fact, you're sitting there knowing that you're going to retain about 10% of what I'm going to tell you, and more importantly, you're not going to implement it when you go into work. And we know as an industry, we spend approximately about £1,000 per person on leadership and development programs. We're using an old formula that we know doesn't work. So what are we going to do about it? So what I'm going to try and do in 30 minutes is at least say there are things we can do about it. And the first thing we need to recognise is, and it's a great book, this by when I do these talks, I try to give you stuff that I think is really important. I'll do some good YouTube clips. I'll tell you, it's a really good book. This says what the world of work is going to look like. And we're still using 1940s, 1950s models, and that's where we moved on. Yeah? I love Dan Pink. Have you read his book? Puzzle Motivation. He's got a great cash line. He says, what science knows, business ignores. He's actually talking about money and motivation, but I'm using exactly the same thing. And what's really interesting, the solution to embedding learning, we've known since the beginning of time. I want to tell you a story. Are you all aware that Homo sapiens weren't the first, nor the strongest or the fittest beings on this planet? Yeah? Do you know the first, the ones that seem to have the wherewithal to survive? Neanderthals. So when I say somebody's a Neanderthal, we conjure a vision, don't we? You're right, they were stronger, they were faster. They were more attuned to what we had to do to survive on this planet. The good news for us Homo sapiens, there was something that we had that they didn't do. Do you know what that was? Share learning. Collaborate. All the anthropological research shows from cave drawings that Homo sapiens survived because we learned off each other. So how come we don't use that as L&D professionals today? Yeah, I know we do things in learning sets a little bit, but by and large, in a classroom, we're telling and we're selling. We're not sharing learning, and that's why you're not embedding it. Let me show you a video.
Explaining our collaborative learning technology. Homo sapiens became the surviving human species because of our ability to collaborate and learn socially. It is part of our DNA and one of the main reasons why we are here today. But even now, we still don't collaborate enough and miss opportunities to learn, adapt, and create a competitive advantage. This is because within our lives at work and home, we tend to learn in bubbles. When we read a book, article, or do some e-learning, we learn in isolation. When emails are sent that ask a question to help our learning, they are usually one-to-one or one-to-a-few. Training events and workshops are just a larger bubble, and conferences are a huge bubble. After any interaction, the participants are usually the only ones who have the knowledge and know what happened. Sure, we can create a training document and put it on our hard drive, where of course no one can review it. Or we can put it on the public drive, where of course no one can find it. The problem is that the knowledge and learning we have can be valuable to others, but they don't know about it because they weren't included. Or maybe they didn't even know it happened. When we learn using closed-off methods, we run the risk of limiting our learning because we lack the input from others, which can lead us to make poor decisions in a bubble. Duplicating the work of others and not communicating the important information to the stakeholders and learning from each other. But that's the way it's always been, and we really can't do anything about it. Can we? Actually, we can. Using collaborative technologies like 1080's Jive Cloud, we can now share our learning out loud and tap into the collective intelligence, creativity, and innovation in others. No longer is learning kept in a bubble, but now it's open, ready for others to discover, share, follow, debate, and use. Our technology opens up learning by allowing you to communicate, share knowledge, and learn, where others can see it and comment on it. Want to ask others what they think of an article? Instead of asking only a few people, ask everyone in the company and get input from those whom you didn't even know existed. Cut across both hierarchical and organisational barriers and see the impact you make when you share and learn using a status update, discussion, or blog. So, instead of learning in a bubble, open up, share, and be informed. Invest in our collaborative approach to maximise learning in your organisation. To find out more, head over to our website or get in contact with us.